Cool. Thank you so much for joining me.
Not a problem.
I think what for me is the most important thing is, or what sparked this conversation, or what sparked me wanting this conversation is that in my immediate environment, I have a lot of gay friends in my immediate life. And I feel in our conversations that they've had two separate lives. So it's the life before you came out, and then it's the life after you came out. But the life before you came out seems to have the emotions of that still loom in the new life.
The trauma.
Right? Yes, the trauma that everything still looms in the new life. And I don't know if, as a pansexual woman, I don't know if we're creating the spaces that you can feel like you could talk about that comfortably, because I've never had to come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if I am not a heterosexual woman only, and I'm a bisexual woman, no one is looking at me to come out of it.
No one asks you anything about your sexuality, because it's going to be like, it's a bisexual woman. It's a fantasy for a lot of guys. That's the problem,
Right. So I just wanted to kind of understand, or, maybe talk to you about if you feel, and let me start here.
Okay.
Do you feel like we as women that have really close people that are gay, do you feel like we're creating spaces where you can have normal conversations with us, or the difficult ones?
I think, well, with me, like, I'll speak up from my point of view. Like, my friends have created that space for me. So, like, friends like Lulama, Mo, Lebu, Anita, just to mention a few, have created a space for me where I'm able to speak about anything. So I can speak about my mom's death around them. I can speak about my sexuality, even speaking about the fact that there were some family members who made the whole experience traumatic when I came out, because obviously now I stopped speaking to some of them, and the whole notion of God was also coming in, and so they've created that environment for me where I'm able to even cry openly, and then I'd feel bad the next day and be like, guys, I'm so sorry that our chill time turned so emo, and they'd be like, dude, we are friends for a reason. Yeah, we're friends for a reason.
I think we do well. I think we do well with emotions.
Yeah.
I don't know if we do as well with sex. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if we do as well with sex, because my thing is the Holy Grail is for everybody's sex to be normal sex. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not for when we move from our sex to gay sex, then we're talking about alternative sex.
Yeah.
Because are we gonna lie about the straight people?
As if they don't do the same thing. Like, can we not pretend? Come on, guys.
So that's my thing. Is I hear that we're creating emotional spaces because by default, I guess as women we can do that. And we are also, especially the feminist woman, Lulama, of course. Are looking like ready to gun anyone down who's going to say something anti-gay.
And that's also another great thing about the whole experience, is that with them, the safe space extends to going out as well. So if someone, for example, came and said something that was odd or said something that was homophobic, they'd be the first ones to defend me. Even on social media, like, you always see one of the first people to come at someone. So if they see me like responding to like a homophobe, they'll be the first persons, or first people actually rather, to answer or say something to the person, to be like, dude, you actually need to do better. But I find it actually, even now as we're talking, I find it interesting, like you mentioned, that it's women who create the safe spaces. It's different compared to my male friends.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've had a safe space like that where I wouldn't say it is a safe space, because they do protect me, but it's more about answering questions and also just answering the curiosity, because a lot of them obviously aren't learned when it comes to LGBTI issues. So they'll be the ones to ask all the questions, like what happened, let's say what happened in high school, like when guys call you this word, what does it feel like, and stuff like that. So I mean, like, it's different experiences from with my female women friends, and my male friends. It's completely different.
So do you feel though that we're creating that space?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about sex. So if I come back and I'm just like, yeah, this weekend, this and this popped off,
Yeah.
do you feel like you could be like, yo, on the same level with everyone?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, with the guys, different.
Okay,
With
fair.
with like Olulama and all of them, we talk about that openly. Like they'll even be the first ones to even ask me questions. Let's say they'll be like, "Oh, what was that guy's?" You know.
Okay.
So we talk about
Okay,
everything, you know.
okay.
So we won't hide things or anything like that. So they never make me feel uncomfortable when it comes to the topic of sex, because at the end of the day, they want to create this environment where I can feel normal,
Yeah.
because society already says to me that I'm not normal. So they create the environment where I'm able to talk about sex openly, talk about my feelings openly. So yeah, definitely.
I think it's sad. It's even sad that we've got to have, like, you know what I mean, like homosexual conversation. In 2018. It's so sad.
I know.
But because the breaking down never ends, you know, like the breaking open of the nuances of this and that, people are realizing what's problematic. People are realizing that things they didn't realize were problematic, or problematic questions that they thought were okay are not okay. People are realizing that only in 2018 now, and that's why I'm like, I feel like this is such a conversation. It's so outdated.
It is. And also, like, the nice thing about now and the call-out culture that's happening in 2018, it's forcing people to go read. So it's forcing people to actually make an effort to get information. Because the problem that I've noticed with a lot of people, and the fact that we still have ignorance when it comes to LGBTI issues, that they want us to feed them the information. So I don't mind telling you.
Okay.
But people expect us to tell them what
like feminism as
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because why should I have to tell you about homosexuality when it's been in existence? We read about lesbian women being killed, gay men having like homophobic attacks at taxi ranks. But I mean, like, if you see the word homosexual, why don't you just go look it up and look up about all the other stories that are happening in South Africa as well, to get an idea of what it's like to be homosexual in South Africa? Because we shouldn't be telling you that, what it's like to be gay or lesbian or pansexual. And also, as you said, the nice thing about 2018 is that now we've started an acceptance, and you see the letters are growing, because it was LGBT and then it's LGBTIA plus. So I just say plus. And also, what was I going to say? There was something I was going to say now about homosexuality in 2018, but it will come to me.
Bring it back.
Yeah, it will come back.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned a little earlier about religion, and when people kind of throw the Bible at your face and things like that. See, that's that, you know.
It's terrible. And also, like, the thing is, we live by the Bible as a black community. That's the thing. Religion has always been
you can't live by sections of it.
True.
You know
that's
the
thing. Let's not be selective.
My whole thing is at the core. And I mean, I'm not speaking as a pastor, as somebody who studied the Bible. You know what I mean? As somebody who has like a plethora of references. I don't. You know, I know what I know from church. I know what I know. But the crux of what I know from church, without me having stepped into church, without me anything, just from my mom, was that you do not judge. That is not what you're here for in the world. That is not your mandate in the world. You know what I mean? Like, the core principles have got nothing to do with sexuality.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is that I hear, okay, cool, someone's written about it because it clearly existed.
Yeah.
But so it existed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Whoever wrote about it and decided that this is not the right way is, you know, it's
how it's basically controlling people. It's controlling people.
I struggle with it.
Religion is just about controlling people. And the thing is, I know a lot of people will probably come for me because I'm a spiritual person. So for me, the Bible was written by man. So as humans, we can make mistakes, we can be wrong. So the fact that the Bible has certain sections that okay, how can I explain it? Like, there's sections of the Bible that people take literal and there's some that they don't. So I always ask that question, why are you taking this one figuratively and this one literal?
Yeah.
For example, if like you going to come at me that no man shall lie with another man, then let's talk about stoning or like stoning the person who sleeps with a woman who's on a period,
Yeah.
or stoning the person who eats pork.
I think the saddest thing is that we actually even have to go there.
Yeah.
That the rebuttals on the saddest thing
Yeah.
for me, because I think with spirituality, that's the most important. And with religion, we've kind of practiced ways to do things, but with spirituality, it's always been fluid and open. And God,
Yeah.
to me, is so open. So you speak a lot about, actually, the first time that you popped out at me on the timeline was when you spoke about, your depression. And I can't remember the thread exactly.
Yeah.
But you spoke a lot about how you were feeling, and the dark hole, the sunken hole, as they
Yeah.
now call it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Do you feel like, were you depressed only now? Is this something new? Is it, or do you feel like you're only identifying it as what it is now, because now you have the means and the this and the that to kind of, you have the access to things that make you
Yeah.
realize it's okay to have mental illness issues, and
Yeah.
it's okay to this and that, but maybe you were depressed before.
Yeah. Funny enough, I actually realized I was depressed when I found out about my mental health issues. So I suffer from borderline personality disorder, and a lot of people like comparing it to bipolar, which is not. It's not the same thing as bipolar.
Could you take us through the difference?
Okay, cool. So with borderline personality disorder, so it's basically like you have to be sensitive when defining it. So like dictionary definition, it's basically like erratic mood swings, self-image issues. Also at the same time, like you struggle with abandonment issues. So for me, how it came about in my life was after my mom passed away in 2011. So I didn't notice any of my behavioral patterns until I went out and my friends were like, "You're quite angry."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I never paid attention to any of those things.
How did you liken that to a possible mental illness? Like, how did you
So-
go from that to, I might need to see someone?
So it literally was just drinking. It was drinking, and relying on alcohol. And obviously, when you very inebriated, sometimes your emotions are just. Not even sometimes, all the time. Your emotions just come out.
He said sometimes.
You remember that guy who dumped you by SMS and you start breaking up in the club, So, but so it was one of those things. So I was in the club,
Yeah.
and funny enough, 2011, right after my mom passed away, I was in a Pop Bottles. I was at a Pop Bottles event in Cape Town, and then I remember Lula was playing, and then he played These Tears.
Oh, you were
And-
triggered by that song.
And then I started crying afterwards, and then I started noticing. After my friends were also telling me that you're very drunk, or you said this to someone, you said this in your rage, because I was bottling up anger. So it was also those things where, let's say if you were my friend, and you did something, let's say while we were drinking, before I get drunk, and then once I get drunk now, then all my emotions would come out, and I'd start be like, Star, you did this, you did that, you did this.
Oh, wow.
So I started, and then after those conversations with the friends, they were very uncomfortable conversations actually. Then I went to go see someone at the campus clinic, and then she was my psychologist for about 15 sessions. And then with the last session, she was like, I don't want to diagnose you, but I suspect that you might have borderline personality disorder. So from there on, I just left it. Excuse me. I just left it, and then I never paid attention, and I just carried on with my life. And then when I started noticing, like, okay, things are starting to get bad now, because I'm noticing my mood swings. I'm also noticing that I like spending time alone. But also at the same time, even though I'm alone, I still want to be with people. So it didn't make sense to me. So I was noticing a lot of things changing in me. And then when I was here in Joburg, I actually had a breakdown where I went to go see a psychiatrist.
Was that the part, or was that the time that you moved from Joburg to Cape Town to get away?
Yeah.
And when you moved from Cape Town, what was the plan? Did you go
So-
there with the job, or like were you just like...
Nothing, Star, nothing. Literally 2015 December, I remember tweeting, and I think it was
Yes.
around the same time I
Yes.
tweeted, I was like, I'm taking a break and I'm gonna go home and just to sort out my life. And then by that time already there was a lot going on. I wasn't happy with where I was in life. I didn't feel like I had a purpose anymore because I wasn't doing what I enjoy. Also where I was working, I wasn't enjoying it as well. And also just like friendships were also not the kind of friendships I wanted, because now looking back now,
Were they feeding the monster more than feeding the
kind
human?
of, but also at the same time, instead of being the support system that I would need, then these would be the same people that are talking about me behind my back. Or if I have an episode, then they talking about it instead of coming to me and being like,
No.
this is what happened.
You
So,
don't need all that.
you know what I'm saying?
You don't need
So
all
bye
that.
to that. And then, yeah, so I moved to Cape Town. Cape Town is a sanctuary for me, so I'm very aware of Cape Town. I can't go to Cape Town to start a career. I know that for a fact. Cape Town is a sanctuary for me, so every time I want to reboot or refresh, I go to Cape Town.
So when you say home, who's there?
So my brother lives in Cape Town, so I've got
Okay.
family in Cape Town. I've
And
got
when you
friends in
went
Cape
back,
Town.
Who did you stay with?
My brother. So I was staying with my brother for 2
How
years.
was that?
It was good. And funny enough, my brother picked up on the depression, but he only picked up because I smoke marijuana. I speak openly about it, but I smoke it for my anxiety because I don't want to depend on tablets.
Okay.
Because I've tried antidepressants and I didn't
Yeah.
like how they made me feel, and I also didn't like the weight gain. Trying to maintain,
It's
But
why
also
everyone.
besides that, like jokes aside, I
Yeah.
just didn't like how they made me feel.
I feel you.
So marijuana helps me also with insomnia. So he found a joint of mine outside, and then so we had that awkward discussion. But he was like, "I'm not going to tell the family or anything like that. I just want to know why you have that because a friend of his committed suicide, and his friend used to be like a hectic like weed smoker. So he was coming from that angle. Is there anything wrong?
Oh, okay.
So we actually spoke, and then he understood that, okay, now I know you're depressed, and how can I help you? So the past 2 years were amazing in that I was able to talk to him. I was also able to talk to his girlfriend as well. So yeah, they made it very easy for me to maneuver around Cape Town and figure out my life. And then end of last year, that's when I decided I wanted to move back to
How do you
Joburg.
decide? So how do you know that you're now emotionally and psychologically ready to come back? Because
It's real. No, it's real. It's real.
It's a real place.
It's real.
It's a real place.
I just decided, like, I think we were actually coming to work here in Joburg from Cape Town because I was working at an NGO. And funny enough, you asked, what did I have a plan when I left here? I had no plan. I left here, got to Cape Town.
Yeah.
And first 2 weeks I was there, I was just applying for jobs, luckily, and I got one with Doctors Without Borders, so I went to go work with them.
Oh, awesome.
And then after Doctors Without Borders, I moved to Equal Education, so that's where I was before moving back to Joburg. So we were here, and when I was in Johannesburg, I was like, I actually want to stay now.
I think it's actually pretty cool that you talk about going to Doctors Without Borders and things like this, because I didn't know that you had such a background in helping and things like that, which
Yeah.
actually makes sense with the other platforms
Yeah.
that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you come back, we'll be talking talking more to Phumlani about life, love, and everything else, but also an important segment, I think, just in terms of health and how to take care of yourself and what's available to us in terms of taking care of ourselves when we come back on our second segment.